or 3 or 8 or 7, whatever the age, we can understand. We're given the ability to understand. But I'll tell you what happened. I was standing there just thinking that, and all of a sudden, the Spirit of God blew slap through me at 5 years old. I mean, He blew. You know how the wind hits you and you stop the wind? I didn't stop this. It just went right through me. And when that happened, instantaneously, I thought of something. I know why they're shouting now. You know? Now, that's the truth. That happened. And never went back to church after that. Until I was 12. And I repented at 12 years old. Never went back to church after that. Lasted about 2 weeks. That's the extent of it. But I understood it. But then when I was 17, my girlfriend, my fiance, it was my wife's best friend back then. We all grew up together. Her dad and my dad started in business together when we was 3 and 4 years old. I'm talking about my wife. And I don't remember this. I don't remember that far back, but I know I was told by my mother that when I spotted her for the first time at 3, I was 4, she was 3, I looked at my mother and I said, "Mama, who is that ugly little fat girl?" This happened. But at 17, my fiance then, her mother got saved. She got radically saved. She was one of these, her mouth was worse than a sailor. It'd make him blush. I mean, she cursed. I ain't never heard some of the words come out of nobody's mouth like that. It's like she had to lay awake at night to think them up. I'm serious, and I'm 17, so I'm pretty bad myself. But one day, she went to a service, and I wasn't there. Nobody was there, just her. She went all by herself over to a little Methodist church. She come back home, and that stopped. That stopped. That woman made a 180-degree turn. And I knew, see, right then, I knew, hey, she got what I felt when I was 5 years old. And she told me, she was the one that told me to read in Revelations because it told the end, and that's where I ended up with all that. But what happened was, she talked to me one night, and I was going home after I left her house. And all of a sudden, the Spirit of God just quickened me and just started, the condemning Spirit of God that doesn't want you to go to hell, that started churning inside me and around me. And I pulled off to the side of the road, and I got out right there, 17-year-old boy, knelt down by my car right there, and I repented. It lasted 2 weeks. I never... That's when I came to that place in that camper trailer. I did pray this. I remember going, God, I don't want no more 2-week religion. I've had it. I don't care nothing about it. But what I'm saying that for is to say this. Everybody has a destiny. I don't care how great or how small. Because in the eyes of God, it doesn't matter. Because the first shall be last and the last shall be first. He's not concerned about how great of a destiny that you have to fulfill in your life and the part that you play in. He's not concerned about that. He's concerned just simply about you completing. That's it. Every person that's born into this world has a destiny. Now, if they fulfill it and complete it, that's their choice, okay? I mean, when I was 5 years old, right then, He sealed me to do something when I got older. Now, for years and years, I wouldn't do it. I would not run in it. I didn't want to walk in it. I didn't want to have no part in it, okay? And I had to finally get to the place where I was at my lowest time in my life to finally surrender and say, okay, God, I want you. Now, same thing happened with Joseph right here. He had a destiny. Usually, your destiny will be launched by something great or miraculous that happens in your life. In most people's life, it's when they get saved. In my life, it was when the Spirit of God blew through me, where I'd know who He was. See, God will deal with each person differently according to the characteristics and types they are. And He'll deal with them differently because He knows down the road, He sees the turns and the way that your destiny is shaped. So He wants to speak to you in that way. He knew, I believe God knows everything, okay? Now, He gives us a choice. I'm not saying that you're just bound to either go to heaven or hell. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, He knows everything. And He knows that when you get to certain points in your life, there are certain choices that you can make. And if you make those choices, then you're going to end up where He wants you to go. I'll give you a prime example. This is all coming while I'm standing here. When I was in 1985, God called me to do something, and I did not want to do it. Your pastor said it. I'm hard-headed. I am hard-headed. I'm stubborn and hard-headed. Now, I don't mean to be, okay? I just got to know, is it you, God? You see what I mean? Because I figure if He tells me something long enough, or just more or less just lets me have it, then I know it's God. But I was in our church. I played drums. And what happened was, God told me He wanted me to give that to Him, that gift. Well, I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. You know why? Because I knew what that had led to in the past. And I didn't want no part of it. I wanted no part of that whatsoever. Because I was afraid that if I do that, I'll end up right back where I was. So I struggled. It was an hour after church. My pastor, what happened that day is he gave us a sheet of paper. Had to be this Sunday that happened. He gave us a sheet of paper and he said, I want you to write down your gifts and callings, and I want you to sign it and lay it on this altar. Well, I wouldn't do it. I held it and sat there weeping and crying and weeping and crying for over an hour after church was over. You know, my pastor had to get irritated with me, but I'm telling you right now, I'd show up at that man's house. I'm just going to be free tonight, preach and say anything I want. I'd show up at that man's house, stay there all night, and see the sun come up the next day. I'm telling you, you know this man had to say, I don't even know what this boy's doing. I mean, he's crazy. But I would not let go of that. And he finally came to me. He said, Tony, put it on the altar. I said, I can't. He said, yes, you can, because I'm hungry. Put it on the altar. I'm dead serious. I still love him. He came up and preached a revival for us just about, a month ago. Love him to death because he'll tell you like it is. He don't, nothing cut no hay with him. He gonna tell you. So I laid it on the altar, and I was just so afraid that right then God was gonna say, now you got to do something. Because I knew I had a destiny. I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand it, but this is what happened. I laid it there. I didn't hear another word about it. I thought, well, this was easy. Until about 6 or 8 months later. We had a revival, and this lady, she died, went to hell 2.5 hours. I think I may have mentioned it. I don't know. I've talked about her before. Lost every pint of blood, heart busted. She's been on TV everywhere. Phil Donahue back then, you're talking about back in '85. She's been all over because she's in medical record books. Died and went to hell. God brought her back and said, if you'll preach my word, I'll let you live. She did. She set up after 2.5 hours. She came to do a revival at the church. Little bitty church. Wasn't over. Well, there wasn't as many people as there are in here. Never been to that place. She walked into that church, and all the people at the church had kept asking me, said, Tony, play drum. We need a drummer. I said, not me, you don't. That's what I told them. I said, I'm not playing drums again. When I got saved, I quit that mess. I don't have nothing to do with that no more. They said, we need a drummer. You won't hurt nothing. I said, I ain't doing it. You can forget it. You might as well just quit talking. I'm keeping walking. That's it. I'm not doing it. That woman walked in. Now, this happened. I'm going to the destiny part, but I need you to understand that even when you don't even know what your destiny is, there is one available. It's out there. Now, I mean, you know, here I was just a little nut, and I didn't know nothing. But this woman walked in, and she's sitting there on the pulpit, and as she sat there, our eyes met, and I thought, you got something to say to me. Then I thought, nah, not me. You know what I mean? Not me. I'm hard-headed, I told you. It happened again. Our eyes met, and I thought, you got something to say to me. And then I thought, nah, surely not. You know? Third time it happened. And I did the same thing. Nah, surely not. That woman, she didn't get up and introduce herself. She didn't say nothing. She walked up to the pulpit, and she goes, brother, God wants to know why you're not playing drums in this church. I'm telling you the truth. That happened. That woman didn't know me from Adam. She didn't know nothing. She got there just in time to come up to the pulpit. She didn't just arrive. I thought, God wants me to play drums. You know what I'm saying? I may be stubborn, but I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? I can get there. So